those closest to you reacted to your decision to enter the seminary?
Well, I talked to my dad first, and he was kind of shocked at first. He was supportive. I didn't want to tell my mom until I actually, my dad encouraged me to talk to my cousin, and from there I talked to Father Larry. And after I talked to Father Larry is when I finally told my mother what I was doing, because I didn't want. I knew her influence would push me, and I didn't want, even though it would have been this good influence, it wasn't the time to get her involved to help me along. But when I felt I needed that extra encouragement, when I knew this was how I wanted to go, I needed her encouragement, and she was there for me.
And, for me, I had a pretty good experience. My parents were extremely supportive. My grandmother was very supportive. She had always been a strong support for me growing up in the faith. So, not all of my friends that I had growing up understood it right away. I mean, I didn't receive too many negative comments or feedback, but it was one of the things that intimidated me right away, as I'm sure would for anyone who's considering a call. But the important thing, like I said, to remember is that it's not nearly as important to convince everyone as it is to figure out through prayer whether it is something that you're being called to do.
Jim, you had mentioned the intimidation, and I think I can relate to that because, being in high school when I finally decided that this is what I wanted to do, as graduation approached, I knew that I had to make a decision, and to tell my fellow students in high school, public high school, that I was going to seminary, I thought, what are they going to think? Half these kids don't even know what seminary is. So it is very intimidating to say this is what I'm going to do and to share that with people. But you're right, you don't have to convince people that this is, they have to agree with you. That's not what's important. And, I think we all probably know after we finally did tell people that God does provide. He helps you through those situations. And also there's some essential, being in high school and telling my parents was kind of intimidating also. They were very accepting and very supportive, but I was a little worried, how are they going to respond? And I'm the only child, so being the only child, I thought, what's my mother going to think about this? And not having grandkids. But, probably the hardest part was telling them what I wanted to do. But it all worked out in the end. They were very supportive. So, but it is very intimidating.
Sure.
And I agree, because at first, my family, they were just all shocked. Especially my mom. I can remember I think they thought it was more a stage that I was just going through with coming back to church and everything. And then I remember telling my firefighter friends, because I was a dedicated firefighter for 7 years, and it was my whole life. And when I told them, they more or less made fun of it, because nobody was Catholic in the fire department. But it was something that I still prayed about, and eventually that dedicated firefighter, started to grow less, and me wanting to serve God grew more, and I just chose to quit, and I left the fire department in 2006 or somewhere, and I'd never regret it. And I'm still friends with them, and I know they still look up to me, and I just seen them at our parish picnic on Sunday, but there's just something, they see something different in me. They see that there's something that happened. But it's nothing I regret. It was a tough decision, though, because there were times I was with them, and you wanted to be with them, but you knew there was something else. There was like that pull to what was better, and I made that better decision.
You mentioned that earlier.
I think some of my friends are still scratching their heads at this decision, but they're supportive, even if they don't completely understand.